garden tour. Hey guys, welcome back. Today we are going to do a little January or end of January garden tour, and it's not going to be a traditional garden tour. It's going to be a cool garden tour. Not really.
What is a cool garden tour?
No, I'm kidding. We're just going to really walk around.
Lame.
I was trying to make a dad joke. Anyways, I failed. So
Mom joke?
no, there's no such thing as a mom joke. It's like a dad joke. Anyways, fail.
Moms can't make jokes.
Yes, they can. My mom makes jokes all the time. Anyways, we are just going to walk around today and see how the garden is looking. And there's not a whole ton going on, but I did want to get into the habit of showing you guys our garden throughout the whole year. So you see where we have winter interest, fall interest, spring, summer interest. That way you can kind of get an idea of why I plant so many trees and why I think evergreens are so important to anchor our gardens, especially this time of year. So let's get into it and let's see what is happening in my garden right now. Okay. All right, we're gonna start out here in the front and we'll start in this flower bed. Now the sun is a little bit like really in our eyes, so I'm gonna be like doing this and a little bit of that. So don't mind that. But let me get out of the way so you guys can see what's going on over here. So let's start right here with our angel false pine that we planted earlier, or actually late last year, and it's looking great. We actually have been having a couple of really cold days, and then I thought like, uh-oh, because she looked a little like wimpy, but I think she's bouncing back. I think what happens is when it gets really cold like that, the needles tend to like really stick together, and so all of our pines tend to look a little bit flat this time of year, which is totally normal. So you'll see these fluff up quite a bit, especially like our Louis pine. That one looks really thin right now, and we'll show you guys here in just a minute. Right. Yeah, but in the like springtime, summertime, it really just starts like fluffing up. So, but this is doing really good. Right over here, we have the Shishi Gashira maple. It's doing good. We are getting ready to prune all of our trees, and we'll make sure to do a video so you guys can see that whole process, because we constantly get asked about all of our trees. And I know it's not ideal for everybody to plant as many trees as we do, but it's what we like, it's what we do. We keep them under control because we do prune them every year. I have a great arborist that works with me, and him and I just work together every year to just really hone everything in and make it look pretty. If we swing around this bed, you can tell there's not a ton going on. I need to come in here and start cutting back our peony. We still have this empty area that I want to plant a tree over here. Oh, I also wanted to mention we still have some dahlias in the landscape. So if you guys see these, well, like, I don't even know what you want to call this, because like they're like little tree trunks. They're massive, and these were cuttings that I took. So I don't want to brag, but my dahlia cuttings obviously did so well, and I'm going to show you that whole process as well this year. This bowl over here, we need to get rid of. I really put a lot of thought, and I really just looked at all of your guys' suggestions. You guys had such great recommendations. One of the biggest ones was creating like a succulent container, and I love that idea. However, this soil gets so bogging wet. There's just no way that succulents would do well in here, and I could drill holes into it and do all of that business, but it's just not something I want to invest my time and money into. And it is a bottom of a fountain. I think there's like a lady that goes in the center, right? That's what it was. I think our neighbor, we gave it to our neighbor. I don't know what happened with that whole situation, but either way, I want to get rid of it. I'm going to put it on OfferUp, see if anybody wants it for free, if they can move it. Because if we do get rid of this, or when we get rid of this, this is going to really open up this whole little corner here to add more plants, which is what I want. I'm thinking once the siding is done, we can maybe even do like some espaliers back here. I think would be really beautiful. Or maybe just remove all of this grass and do something back here. So I think it just creates a lot of potential once this is gone and it's not taking up so much precious real estate in our garden over here. All right, so if we just go to the island of trees, I'm so proud of this. If you know, you know. Over here, we have the island of trees, which is looking really pretty. I always love this little space this time of year because there's just not a ton going on, but there's so many pretty like evergreens in here that it always like my eyes are always attracted to this area when we come to our house. I have to come in and cut these hydrangeas back. We did a video on pruning hydrangeas. So if you're in an area that it's time for you to cut yours, I will make sure to link it down below because now is a good time. We have a ton of bulbs coming up, which is very exciting. A lot of them are being dug up by the squirrels, which is so obnoxious. I know, it's so sad, but it's okay. Like, I plant them back in, they dig them back up. They are. So those are hyacinth over there. And those are probably going to be kind of wimpy because they've been there for a really long time. So they're not as good as they were when we first planted them. But we did plant a lot of daffodils in here together. So if you guys remember that video, we planted in the grass and in the landscape. And I was telling you how I was just telling myself, okay, Claudia, just remember all of the pretty spring colors you're going to have. And so now now that I see them popping up, it's that payoff is really like coming true and it's so nice. So here's the Louis pine that I was telling you guys about. You can see how it's taken on kind of a lighter yellow color. It looked a little bit dull right now. It was brighter yellow. Now it's kind of cooling off. And it looks flat right now, but once, again, it starts warming up, springtime, summertime, it just gets really fluffy and it just fills in so beautifully. We will be pruning it back though, because it is getting kind of big on the top. So I want to kind of bring it in a little bit. Here's our winter Daphne. I want to come in here and prune this really hard and move it just because when it's done flowering, it doesn't do much in this space. So I'm thinking we could do something better over here, but look at all of the little clusters of flowers. And I'll tell you what, these smell amazing for such a long period of time. I think it's definitely worth the investment of putting those in your garden if you're looking for winter interest, if you're looking for something that blooms early or in wintertime, or I guess late winter, and if you're looking for a beautiful scent in your garden, highly recommend a Daphne. So the planting strip is looking good. We're gonna come in and prune the dogwoods as well. And it's so funny because these were so wimpy when we first put them in a few years ago. And even one of our neighbors were kind of laughing. They're like, are you sure that's gonna make it?
Because it was pretty windy.
It was windy,
they were literally
like rocking. They were like literally like this. And we're like, uh-oh, one of them, or we thought they were gonna snap in half, but they didn't. And look at how good they look. So now who's laughing? But anyways, these look really good. And if you come close to the grass, you can start to see the bulbs coming up. Let me see if I can find over here. Look at this. And I know it's not like, oh my gosh, but to me, it's like, oh my gosh, look at how exciting that is. Look at that.
I'm gonna mow over them.
I know, I keep telling Sergey, you cannot mow this area. Do not forget, do not mow this planting strip. This bed is also doing really well. Again, not a lot going on. I am going to come in and start cutting these rudbeckias down. I've left them on for long enough. And the birds are, well, they're still kind of munching on these, but I haven't really seen them around much. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that back. And I just wanted to show you guys kind of spotlight or put a spotlight on our Japanese maple, because this is where you can really see the beautiful branching. And it's so gorgeous at night because we have the spotlight shining up on it. So you just get this beautiful shadow in the garden. And this tree is the only tree that we left on this property when we bought the house. So this is the only tree that is, yeah, that we left. It does, yeah.
And we exposed that before. You couldn't.
You couldn't see it, yeah. Sergey's right. Like you could not see the actual structure. So let me show you guys. Let me get in here and show you what I mean. So, yeah. But do you see how it just like twists and it almost looks like skin on the trunk, and even like on the bottom how it's kind of wrinkly? That is something that I really admire about Japanese maples. And you guys know, I always talk about this. When you buy trees, spend the extra time looking at the full structure of the tree. Pay attention to its orientation in terms of its branching. Pay attention to the trunk, because that is something that I don't only look at the canopy of the tree, like the tree canopy or the leaves. I really look at the whole picture, because that will determine whether or not I want a tree, whether I'm going to invest in putting one in my garden, or if I'm going to leave it. So it has to do a lot of things for me, not just summertime and springtime, but it has to be beautiful in the wintertime in order for me to really love it and want to keep investing it in my garden. I did leave my mess here from us pruning.
Who'd you leave it for?
Well, whoever was going to clean it up, that's what I left it for. It's usually me, okay? I usually pick up after myself, but you know what? I'm a very neat gardener. You guys know this. Rick is just trying to make me look bad right now, but he's not gonna win because you guys know me. And he knows I'm super OCD. Oh my gosh, Obi, sorry, I got really distracted. Oh my gosh, sorry, hold on. Look at this cutie. Oh my, what are you doing? Oh, look at her. So cute. Oh, makes me want to go buy nectar and put it out here for them. So not a ton going on out here, but I just wanted you guys to really see how important it is to have evergreens in your garden, because if I had all deciduous trees, this would all look pretty bare and pretty boring. So the evergreens really save us this time of year. Even if it's a small one, you know, you can get like the low growing ones, just something to bring your eyes to that area is really important. This bed is going to change quite a bit this next year because we do plan on coming in with a lot of bedding annuals. And I cannot wait to do that. We talked to my good friend Janie, and we're gonna just put in a bunch of beautiful proven winter plants over here, and it's going to look so colorful and bright and fun, and I cannot wait for spring and summertime. So now we're entering the backyard. There's not a ton going on in the side garden. We are going to be working in this space here pretty soon, so I don't really want to spend too much time back there because we will be working over here soon. But as you can see, again, we have a lot of really beautiful evergreens that are really just pulling us through the winter time. We do have our witch hazel here, which is just stunning. And the flowers really glow from every direction that you see. If you can just look at how gorgeous that is. It has a little bit of red, and then it has like these little petals coming out, these little yellow petals. I do want to come in and shape it up a little bit this year, oops, and just make it more into like a standard form because it is getting kind of wild and bushy. So I think that will, again, just add some beautiful structure back here. The hellebores that we planted are looking good. They're settling in nicely over here. That one probably has the most flowers on it. We just finished cleaning out these two beds in the cut flower garden, so you can tell the space is starting to really shape up and open up nicely. The dahlias are going to be next. We have to get those all lifted. But if you just take a look back here, kind of swing on the perimeter of the garden, you can see where all of the trees, again, are doing really beautiful. The one place I want to add something, though, is right here, like this area. And it has to be something maybe columnar, something that doesn't get wide at all. The only thing is this maple does, when it like leaves out, it gets pretty big. But in the winter time, I just don't like how empty this little corner is. And I know like the Hollywood juniper will get kind of big and beautiful, but I don't know, maybe an espalier, once we change out the fence, I think that's when I can really think about what we put back here. But I do want something like over here. Like I don't want anything that gets wide, just kind of straight up and gets maybe like, oh gosh, 15, 20 feet, 15.
No more.
Yeah, okay, 15 tall at the max. If you know of somebody that would go good in this garden, let me know. When I say somebody, I mean a tree. Back here is still looking pretty good. I do have to come in and clean out the dry bed. Isn't the olive tree looking gorgeous? Have you guys seen that fake olive tree at Costco? It is so pretty. But once you get close, you can start to see like, it's obviously fake. But look, I have the real thing right here. I love this tree so much, and I'm so happy that we rescued it. think it's such a beautiful addition to our garden back here, our cut flower garden. And this is one tree that will definitely go with us when we move. Our Vanderwolf, you guys remember we planted this together? Look at how cute he's looking. Look at us too. Prom picture. This one is doing really good. We planted this, when was it? December or November? November, yeah. And it was really, and it was really wet and muddy and it was awful, but we got him in and he's doing really nicely. I can't wait for him to just start taking off like the other one on the other side. Our roses definitely need my attention. So I will be coming out here and doing a little bit of rose maintenance because a lot of them have black spot, and this happens to me almost every year in the winter time. I start to see a little bit of black spots and then I don't really treat it because we get so much rain. I was hoping that these would drop the leaves more. So what I'm going to do is cut these down pretty good and then we'll remove any of the leaves that are left, especially because I see a lot of new growth coming in. So it's definitely time for me to come in and take care of our roses. Some of them have lost the majority of their leaves, but some of them have not. So this just needs to be pruned really nicely because there's just a lot of spindly and thin growth. So I definitely want to clean that up. We have some dried Thai basil. I left these in because they're just a nice little structure. And I actually just used this in a little arrangement. I posted a video the other day, like a quick video, a short or a reel, and they look really nice in little arrangements like that. There's not a whole lot going on the perimeter of the grass. I do need to come in and just clean up all of those potted trees and plants that we have. We're going to be using some of that in the side garden, but there's just a lot of cleaning up that we're starting to do right now. This bed here is also going to be beautiful this year because I hope to come in with more bedding annuals in here as well to add more color. We will, of course, be growing cut flowers in the landscape like we did last year and the year before. Again, that's just such a great way to maximize your space, especially if you really want to get into cut flowers and you don't have a ton of space to dedicate specifically to a cut flower garden. I always tell people, add zinnias, add dahlias, sunflowers, cosmos into your landscape. They're beautiful in the landscape and you get to cut from them and they're cut and come again. So the more you cut, the more they're going to continuously bloom for you. So we'll still be doing that, but we're going to underplant a lot of it with beautiful bedding annuals, which I cannot wait. One thing that I want to do back here is add a little walkway into this little bench area right over here. One thing that I didn't really execute in our garden in the beginning is adding pathways. I always had that in my plans when I was sketching it out. However, I just never executed any of it. And now that we've added so many trees, I have to be a little bit creative of how we're going to use pathways in our garden, but I want people to be able to come in, walk in, and know that they can come over here and this feels like a little garden room. They can sit here and enjoy the view. And we do plan on having more seating throughout the garden. So I do want to create like paths, not like big wide ones, but just something that people can kind of be guided on where to go. And I think we'll probably use flagstone for the most part and maybe interplant them with like moss or something like that, or like little ground cover. That's kind of the look I want. But this area here just has so much room for beautiful things. And I'm being kind of methodical about what we're going to do. We did the hydrangeas already around the deck this last year. I want to come in with some other pretty things to interplant in between the hydrangeas. So that's going to be a fun project. But back here, once we remove the siding, you're not going to have any of this business over here. So all of this pipe, this is kind of a temporary solution with our gutters. So this is not permanent. So all of that will go away, which will allow me to really come in with some more beautiful plants and plant along the house, which I'm really excited about. And finally, I just wanted to show our big Vanderwolf here. I love this tree so much. It's so handsome. I think we planted this 3 years ago, Sergey, or 4. Is this its 4th year? Yeah, 4th year, and we got it when it was just as small as the other one that you guys just saw. So it really took off, and we take such good care of it. We will be pruning this back as well. We usually come in and prune some of the tips to keep it a little bit tight, and just keep the shape really beautiful, because I don't want it to get too crazy. And yeah, it does create layers, because sometimes you can see pines, and oftentimes they're not pruned well, and so they just kind of look like a cone, and I don't like that look. I kind of wanted to have layers, and like you can see kind of in between them. So by cutting them a little bit, we kind of open the tree up a bit. And again, it looks a little thin right now. The needles look kind of like pointy up, but in the springtime and summertime, they really start to just open up and really fluff up. So this is one of like my pride and joys, is this Vanderwolf here. I love this tree so much, and it's such a staple in our garden. It's such an important tree in this space that I just, I love it so much. One thing I wanted to mention is something that I'm not very proud of, but our arbor is leaning into the cut flower garden. We had the craziest windstorm, and it started to lift it up, and those had, there are anchors to them in the ground, but I think what Sergey wants to do is actually cement it in. That way it's not going to move. Is that what you want to do?
Yeah, well, because we put it in before we took off to Scotland.
Yeah.
Remember? And one, didn't want to rush, but two,
Yeah.
I don't think you're 100% sure.
That's
why
right.
you wanted either out or in.
In the cut flower garden.
Put it in, and it did just fine. But I think after we installed the what do you call that? The edging, and the garden is kind of like sloping down. It collects water there, and so that area gets extra moist, and well, it loosened pretty quick.
It did. So
but yeah, the wind didn't help.
Yeah. So the roses did not help, and I feel bad for the roses there, but it's okay. They're doing okay. I'm gonna prune back the roses, and then Sergey and I are gonna come in, lift it up, and then put it back in the ground. So you probably noticed it in a couple of videos of it like cleaning, and it's not you, it's the actual arbor leaning. So I do have some ideas for this space too, which Sergey doesn't know about. But one of you guys emailed me, Heather, you emailed me about a really neat idea to plant some things right here along the grass instead of doing a border of boxwoods around the cut flower garden, because we talked about how that might be very busy and that might not be the best thing to do around the cut flower garden. But I know if I can't do it here, I will do that in my future garden. But anyways, we're gonna skip that. That was just something that I've dreamt about doing for like 3 years. I always knew that I wanted like boxwoods around this area just to add more winter interest, but we're gonna skip that, I think. But we do have, I guess I have some other ideas now for this space. So we might get to that this year, I'm not sure, but what we will get to is that side garden. So stay tuned for that, because you guys will see really from like nothing into something beautiful, which is kind of what we've done in this garden. We really leveled it, took it down, started out with nothing back here but a clean slate, and then we've built this beautiful garden just in the last few years, and it's just getting better and better with time. And I hope for that to be the same thing with that side garden.
I think the great thing that'll be about the side garden is, unlike any other space in our property here, is like everything came in stages.
Yeah.
It didn't happen kind of in one season. It happened over several years.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's how gardening is. It evolves over time, but that is the one space that will happen quick.
Yeah.
So we get to see it come together in like a blink of an eye.
Yeah.
Well, everything kind of was just stages and stages and stages.
Yeah, and you guys will get to be a part of that, which is going to be really nice. Anyways, what I want you guys to take away from this is just paying attention to the evergreens in your garden. If you don't have any right now, now is a really good time to go out to your garden center, see what they have, especially in the next couple of months is when they start really bringing in a lot of trees. So just keep that in mind, because it's going to add so much more interest into your garden, not just in the springtime or summertime or fall time, but really in the wintertime when there's not a whole lot going on. You still have your beautiful evergreens shining in your garden, providing a little bit of privacy, and again, providing that beautiful winter interest. Anyways, that wraps it up for our January garden tour. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing our space, seeing it evolve. We're definitely going to do more of these tours so you guys can see our garden again throughout the whole year and see how we improve it every year. And it's just nice to get out here and to be able to show you guys what the space is really looking like right now. It's not completely manicured the way I always like to have it. So it's nice to show you the garden in all of its stages. So anyways, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today in my garden, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.